I hope this video finds you safe and well. I'm talking to you from my home office in New York City. And it's been an extraordinary few weeks. I'm sure that any of you who are in the city or anywhere else in the world would agree with the onset of the coronavirus pandemic that we've all been navigating. And it's been extraordinary for so many ways. I mean, everyone can speak to the way that this virus has impacted them personally in terms of the fear, the anxiety that has been a different kind of fear and anxiety that's been a part of our daily lives, as well as the grief. Some of it is anticipatory grief, anticipating the losses of people that we love and who may be sick or may not be sick, but we just fear for their health. We're also anticipating the loss of many of our cherished places that we used to gather: theaters, restaurants, bars, all of those places that we found community. So there's a lot that we're feeling around fear and grief and loss and sadness, and it's a lot for anyone to process, for sure. And we're doing that while we're also confined to our living quarters like we haven't been in our entire lives. And as New Yorkers, as Americans, we laud a personal freedom above anything else. And so having our freedoms taken away like this, it's a shock to the system. And we're having to process all that as well. So there's the virus itself, which is very scary. The illness, the deaths, the death toll that keeps racking up, which is all really scary, and that's one aspect of this pandemic. And then there's the collateral damage, right? The economic fallout, the loss of businesses and business owners who are now struggling to figure out what they're going to do. And that's from the smallest business owner, mom and pop, to the largest corporations. So many are trying to make sense of all this and figure out what the next steps are, and if they're even going to survive. And then there's this third aspect to the pandemic, which I think, I mean, a number of people that I've been talking to have been sharing about, and that's not just clients, but friends, loved ones, and I'm also seeing different things in the media as well, personal accounts. And that's this third aspect of the pandemic that I find truly extraordinary, which is the fact that we have all been forced into a quiet, reflective place. Now, some people are not finding this time quiet because they may have children at home, and they may have, be working at home with spouses, and it may be rather chaotic. And yet the things that we used to do, the specific things that we used to do to remain busy, have been removed from our lives altogether. So there is a certain level of busyness that we no longer have. So many of our coping mechanisms, or many of our defaults behaviors, have been removed from us. And what that's doing to us, though, is it's sort of changing the way that we're experiencing ourselves and our environment and the people around us. It's giving us a whole new space, the space where those things were, those default behaviors, those go-to places and things that we used to do. Now that those are gone, there's this empty void. And for a lot of people, that's actually a relief. I mean, I've talked to an amazing amount of people who are so relieved that they're actually finally able to rest for maybe the first time in their entire careers, 20 or 30-year careers. This is the first time that they're actually getting good sleep. This is the first time that they're actually not just running themselves into the ground. So that's extraordinary. And what I'm hearing from these people is that they're having all sorts of insights about their lives, like how much they really need, how much stuff or how many things they actually need, or what's actually important. as well as what they actually need to be doing. How much of the stuff that they were doing that just seems now so extraneous and pointless and exhausting. So this pandemic has been shining a light on a lot of the things that we were doing unconsciously that might have been unnecessary and even wearing ourselves down, wearing ourselves out, keeping us disconnected from ourselves, disconnected from people around us, and disconnected from the earth. And so there is this really interesting, profound process that's happening with this forced slowing down, this forced confinement. It's like we were put into a space for quiet meditation. And whether or not we're able to actually do that or we're doing that is a different story. But a lot of people are just having these really amazing insights about their lives and about the direction that their lives have been taking versus where they might go now. And of course, we're also seeing in the news that this pandemic and all of us being forced to stop, I think it's fascinating that New York City in particular is on pause. I mean, that's what it's called. PAUSE stands for something I can't remember at the moment, but that's what Governor Cuomo has called it. We're on pause. When has the city that never sleeps ever been on pause? It's a crazy thing. And it's eerie to walk outside and see so few people on the street. But it's also, again, this quiet that we might have been deprived of, that we so desperately needed in many ways. Time to actually stop, time to actually reconnect to our systems and see how we're actually doing, to feel how exhausted we've been, how busy we've been, frantically so, and maybe needlessly so. And there's been this interesting phenomenon in which we're all in this together, right? There's this collective experience that we're having, this worldwide collective experience that we're having throughout this pandemic. And that has enabled us all to stop at once. And there's so much more that I'm hearing from people, clients, friends, family members that I find is, again, I can just say extraordinary, profound, because I do think that underneath the fear, underneath the grief, underneath all of these things that are happening, that are real and that are devastating, there are also these other growth opportunities that are happening at the same time, and that we definitely should not ignore them. In fact, we should pay attention to them because these things are happening simultaneously. There are both devastating losses and there are both wondrous opportunities that are happening as well. So again, I hope that you and your loved ones are well and navigating this strange time the best that you possibly can, and taking moments here and there to be grateful and to laugh, as you know, joy is not excluded from any life event. And so just wanted to share those thoughts, and I welcome any comments that you have, and I would actually love to hear about any experiences or insights that you're having. Going to be doing some group coaching calls coming up in the next few weeks because I would like to explore this topic more, just what's going on in this event, this life-changing event that we're all going through together, and how can we navigate it together, and what can come out of it, what kind of epiphanies and what kind of innovation and new directions can we find. All right, well, have a wonderful day and thank you for listening.